Go. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to
Vaughn Radio.
That's right, this is Vaughn Radio. It's the show with no name. And it's time for Liftoff. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Is there an echo?
2.
I think so.
1.
Here we go.
0. Ignition.
Let's get a little power of nature.
Liftoff.
Whoa, what a liftoff. In the middle of a storm. But we'll weather the storm. Capeat, you say?
Get ready. Hold on to your hat.
Let's go.
On your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. Get ready
For the ride of your life.
The show with no. It's show with no name time.
Where?
On Vaughn Radio. Show with no name.
On Vaughn Radio.
Let's go.
Hello, hello, amigos. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. It's time for another exciting edition of The Show with No Name. Strap on your seatbelts and grab those handlebars. We're going for a ride, amigos. On an English adventure, and I trust that you guys are warmed up. Sure. If you spent the last hour with my buddy Fitz, the one and only Fitz, and his program, No Excuses. You can pick it up, or not pick it up, you can listen to it right before this show. Or you can listen to it on the Vaughn Radio app. There's no wrong place to listen to The Show with No Name. You can watch it, you can listen to it. As long as you're learning and laughing, then you're getting it. You're getting what we're doing here every day. The magic we are creating together, the synergy, the energy, the synergy, the excitement, the interaction, the friendship, amistad. That is The Show with No Name. And I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm excited to rock and roll with you today. So let's kick off with our pop quiz. Let's go. Come on, I want to hear you guys. I don't care what day it is. Pop quiz. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Let's go. Come on. Yeah. I go big, you go bigger. And then we get this ball of energy going. The snowball effect. Call it what you will. Woo!
Quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz.
Do, do, do. All right, folks, welcome to our pop quiz. That's right, our pop quiz today is from a book called Natural English. It's a book that you can pick up at the Vaughn Tienda. Natural English, tu guía definitiva del inglés natural. And I'm going to get it right out of this amazing book. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the book. It comes with audio like most of our books do. And this one, the one I have in my hands right now, is signed by my amiga, Ximena Holiday, the host of Test Your English. And if you want to sound What's the word we use here? Totally native. This is the book for you, Natural English. And you've got part 1, which gives you chapters describing or that help you describe how you're feeling. So you've got when you're feeling pessimistic, when you're feeling insulted, when you're feeling distracted, all feelings we have all felt. When you're following your instinct, as we say, trusting your gut. Then you've got part 2, which is a series of work situations, natural English in work situations. So when you're on the phone, very important. When things don't go as planned. When you're summarizing, we do that every day here on the show. When you're going into detail, sometimes we do that as well. When you're starting something, when you're asking for a favor, that's so important to know how to ask for a favor, right? You want to be nice, but you don't want to kiss up. Hacer la pelota. Then you got part 3, when you're out and about, cuando estás por ahí. And in that third part, you got talking about the weather, eating, when you've lost something, when saying goodbye, when talking about friendships or relationships. So it's a very useful book. You can pick it up at the Von Tienda, vontienda.com, or of course, come in person. We'd love to meet you. If you want a free level test, you can stop by our website, vontienda.com, or give us a call, 911-385831. Or you can reach out on social media. All right, amigos. So your pop quiz from today, this is a tough one, huh? This is a totally, it's like a triple totally native. But I think someone's going to get it. I don't know. I have a feeling someone is going to get it. All right. So we're going to take a look. If you have the book, this is great news, because if you have it, we're going to take a look at page 220. It's chapter 103, and it's when talking about someone you don't like. Now, the good thing is the next chapter is what we use, what expressions we use when we talk about somebody we do like. So you get a little bit of everything over here. So the translation in Spanish is no poder meter baza. So let's use the I don't know, a telephone conversation, for example. And you're trying to say something, and the other person will not let you say anything. They just keep talking or steamrolling. Ya te he dado una forma de decirlo. Steamrolling. So how would you say, and use it in context, you can use it in your own context, no pude meter baza. Is that it? I'm not too familiar with it in Spanish. All right. But those are expressions that you'll find not only written in natural English, but you can also hear about them in the audio.
Chapter 103. When you're talking about someone you don't like.
Alguien que no te cae bien. 4 key expressions.
To be a Scrooge. To be tight-fisted.
Ser un tacaño.
To not get a word in edgeways. Or to not get a word in edgewise.
No poder meter baza.
To look down your nose at someone.
Mirar a alguien por encima del hombro.
To think you're God's gift too.
Creerse el hijo de Dios.
More useful English. Phrasal verbs. To boss around.
Mangonear.
To talk back.
Ser insolente con.
Vocabulary. Stingy.
Tacaño.
Exaggerate. To get riled up.
Ponerse como loco.
Set phrases. To have the cheek to have the nerve to.
Tener la cara de.
It's a good thing.
Menos mal que.
To make a move on someone.
Hacer avances, ligar con.
Pronunciation.
Prometido se dice
Fiancé.
I can't stand him. He's the most obnoxious bore I've ever met. Since when does he think he can boss me around? And talk about stingy. He's a tight-fisted cheapskate, a real Scrooge.
Calm down, you're getting too riled up. I don't know who you're talking about, but he must be a real slimeball.
Not only that, he had the cheek to tell me my 30-page research paper was, in his words, absolute rubbish.
No, did he really say that? He sounds like a nasty piece of work.
He really is. It's a good thing you don't know the guy. You'd give him a piece of your mind.
Do you think? It's not really my style to talk back to people. I simply pay no attention to them and dismiss them from my life. Blacklisted, let's say. Permanent exile.
But if you knew this guy, you'd change tactics for sure. He never lets anyone get a word in edgeways, and I've never met anyone so smug and conceited. Always looking down his nose at everyone. Not only is he a complete idiot, but he thinks he's God's gift to women. He even made a move on me. Can you believe it?
Who is this guy anyway?
You don't know him. His name's Josh Carpenter.
You mean Josh, my fiancé?
Chapter 104. When talking about someone you like.
Hablando de alguien que te cae bien. 4 key expressions.
To be the life and soul of the party.
Ser el alma de la fiesta.
To have a soft spot for.
Tener debilidad por.
To be a good egg.
Ser buena gente.
To get on like a house on fire, or to get along like a house on fire.
Hacer clic en el momento. Conectar al momento.
More useful English. Vocabulary. Daisy.
Margarita.
To date.
Salir con alguien.
Set phrases. By any chance.
Por casualidad.
Vim and vigor.
Lleno de energía.
To get carried away.
Dejarse llevar.
Phrasal verbs. To float around.
Flotar por ahí.
To slow down.
Ir más despacio.
Exaggerate. The lucky lady.
La afortunada.
Pronunciation.
Iniciar se dice
Initiate.
All right, well, there you go, folks. That's just a little sample of the audio from Natural English. Remember, all our materials come with audio, so you can pick them up at the Von Tienda. And what better time than the summer to brush up on these totally native idiomatic expressions. And you know me, too. There's nothing I love more than something that's natural. So you can pick it up now. It's Natural English. Let's see how you guys did in our pop quiz. I see we've got a lot of people participating. Let's see. Diego Alonso, that name rings a bell. It's my dad, and he says, "Good morning, Alberto, friends and family. Greetings from Greenwood Lake, New York. What's up, Dad? Great to have you here with us, bright and early." Born to Iron Man, there he is. He says, "Morning, folks. How are the machines doing?" I say it too. There's Laura, lovely Laura, and she says, "Good morning. Stunning show with no namers." What's up, Laura? How are you? By the way, I got your message. I've been getting a lot of great feedback from Diana's participation in the latest FYI episode on social media. If you haven't heard it, give it a listen. Let's see, Kubla. Kubla says, "How's it hanging? Inviting blokes? Let's put our best foot forward and have a blast. Vamos a darlo todo y pasarlo bien." All right, let's see. Kubla also participating in our pop quiz, and let's take a look. He says, "I couldn't get a word in edgewise." That's right. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. And I just learned something from the book as well. I didn't know that you could say edgeways. I've never heard it. So I guess it's a British/American thing. Edgeways versus edgewise. But it's not enough to just know edgewise, right? Y es una mezcla de dos palabras. Because edge is borde and wise es sabio. But it's got nothing to do with that. It's one word. And that's when you say, so how was that conversation you had with your wife? Well, I couldn't get a word in edgewise. Thankfully, that's not my situation. So great job, Kubla. There's Laura. Laura says, I'm lucky to have a signed copy of the book, Natural English 2. It's a great book. I've learned tons of new expressions. Awesome, Laura. And I know that as a teacher, that's such an important thing, you know? And by the way, I want to send a shout out to my neighbors. As many of you know, my wife and I recently, well, my family, my daughter too, we recently moved into a new home. And we met the new neighbors on Friday. They had a barbecue. And I said, wait a second. Are you kidding me? This is awesome. Seriously? First time I meet them and it's at a barbecue that they organized? You got to be kidding me. This is awesome. So I am very, very lucky to have not only cool neighbors, but also many of them, many of them are Vaughn Radio listeners as well. So I thought that was really, really cool. And it was actually, wow, it was amazing. It was amazing to meet them. And then when they said, oh yeah, I listen to your program. Oh yeah, I have your books. And I said, wow. So that's great. Laura, you have it signed too? Let me see what Ximena said in my book. To the best Alberto on the planet. Well, I don't know. There are a lot of good Albertos. What about Alberto Tomba? Tomba, the bomba, right? He's the, what is he? The skier. He was a skier. She says, thanks to the years of support, laughter, and fun. Oh, thanks for. Decía yo, digo, Ximena, thanks to you, pero si es gracias por, right? Thanks to a person, thanks for this. So yeah, she wrote it right. Thanks for the years of support, laughter, and fun. I promise that despite me not remembering the preposition that accompanies the planet in or on, that this book is worth promoting. Well, Ximena, I'm doing it right now. So cheers for that, hombre. I'm trying to do it in her accent. Cheers for that, hombre. Cheers in British English is thank you. You the shit, she said, because you're the shit, eres la bomba. So thank you, Ximena. It's a magical book. Laura can tell you, I can tell you, I've been taking a look at it ever since she gave me my copy, mi ejemplar. And you can pick it up at the Vaughn Tienda. It's vaughntienda.com. Yeah. Laura also participating in the not the Say What soundbite, not yet. But Laura's participating in our pop quiz. And let's see, Laura says, he was talking so much that I couldn't get a word in edgeways. All right. So we got it both ways there. We got it both ways. So I couldn't get a word in edgewise or edgeways, right? Excellent. Born to Iron Man, taking a stab at it, and let's see what he has to say. He says, you'd better not butt in when the big cheese is talking. All right, it's similar, but just be careful. To butt in is interrumpir. So don't If you butt in, I'm going to tell you, butt out. So it's kind of similar, but not really, right? To not get a word in edgewise is to not get the opportunity to speak because the other person is speaking way too much, right? They're dominating the conversation. And you know what I do with these people? I just let them dominate. I don't need to dominate the conversation. So butt in. Great vocabulary. Born to Iron Man. Let's take a look at the other ones they have here. We said to look down your nose at someone. You say, mirar a alguien por encima del hombro. Same idea. You're looking down on someone. Okay? So listen, that's funny. To look down your nose at someone and to look down on someone. Interesting. That's why it's important that you don't just learn these idiomatic expressions, but that you also learn how to use them in context. And that's why here you have like very, very natural conversations. You know, to have a soft spot. Esta es buenísima, right? This is now talking about people we like. To have a soft spot for someone. Tener debilidad, you say. What, Alberto? You let her get away with murder. Le dejaste salir de rositas. Obviously, you have a soft spot for her. Un punto débil. Think about it. Makes sense. Ser buena gente. He's a good egg. A good egg, we say. Un buen huevo. Yeah, I know in Spanish that's something else. I love this one. A social butterfly. I told my daughter the other day, I said, Lara, you're a social butterfly. And you know what she said? She goes, I know. She says, and then she said, I'm a butterfly. So she missed the social part, but she agreed with me. She says, sí, soy una mariposita. I'm a butterfly, but a social butterfly is somebody who's very extroverted, somebody who's outgoing. To be extroverted or to be outgoing. All right, let's see some more comments before we move on. Laura says, mine says, and I quote, y cito, Dear Laura, what a pleasure to meet you. I hope you enjoy this book and that your English improves in leaps and bounds. Vamos, a saltos. Leaps and bounds. So she even gave you a totally native in the dedication. That's awesome. And then she goes on to say, Ximena is such a lovely person. I agree. I second the motion. She is magical. And folks, you can listen to her program every day. You can learn English with her right after this show. Not only is she an awesome teacher, but she's a generous person. She's a wonderful mother. I've seen her with her kids. A wonderful co-worker. No me gusta la palabra colleague. La gente usa la palabra colleague. A mí me parece como no somos científicos aquí, haciendo un estudio de microbiología. You know what I mean? My co-workers. And in our case, as many of you know, they're so much more than just co-workers. They're my friends. So you can listen to all my friends here on Vaughn Radio. All you have to do is download the free app, and you'll never miss an episode of your favorite shows. And remember, when we're on break this summer, habrá un descansito. You'll have tons of content. You have, in fact, today, just today, I released the bonus episode of FYI on heavy metal. So if you're following my podcast, FYI for your English, you'll notice this morning you got a message. And it said, there's a new episode of FYI. It's the bonus episode on heavy metal. What I recommend you do is you listen to the first episode, and then, even if you've heard it, listen to it again, and then listen to the bonus episode. Folks, we are off to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with tons more Show with No Name. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Exclusively on Vaughn Radio. You got it. Vaughn Radio, where English is exciting. It's entertaining. Also, guys, a quick reminder, you might have a few spots left for our summer camps, maybe the ones for the end of August. Also, remember this, you've got your summer intensives. We've got camps for the kids. We've got a plethora of options to help you learn English, aside from all the amazing materials available in the Vaughn Tienda. Now, it's interesting because if I say in the Vaughn Tienda, I'm talking about the physical store. I can also say at the Vaughn Tienda. But if I say at, I'm definitely talking about the internet, right? Whereas in, I wouldn't use with internet. So I bought this at vaughntienda.com. I bought this at the Vaughn Tienda or in the Vaughn Tienda. So for the in person, you can use in or at. And if you're using the website, it is at, which is easy to remember because that is arroba. We looked at it this week on the FYI with my wife on social media. And as I said, you've got the bonus episode on heavy metal available now. Woo! Heavy metal isn't merely hair bands with heavily teased hair and skin-tight spandex screaming at the tops of their lungs. This genre of magnetic music makes fiends of its flocking followers. Wow! Calling all metalheads, get ready to bang your heads as we riff on heavy metal on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info. English. You got it. That's right, folks. So you got a brand spanking new episode. And don't forget, in the summertime, when I won't be producing new episodes in August, I have scheduled, I've scheduled a lot of episodes. So that's 2 that you got this week. You got the one with social media with my wife, and then the bonus episode on heavy metal. And a quick reminder, if you haven't rated the show, si no lo has valorado, if you haven't left a 5-star rating and left a comment, do that. It really, really helps. Do it with the Vaughn shows and do it with FYI as well. It's greatly appreciated, amigos. All right, time for the Say What soundbite. Say what? What? Yeah, it's the Say What soundbite. It's the Say What soundbite on the show with no name. Say What soundbite, driving your brain insane. Say What soundbite, Say What soundbite. Yeah. All right, my amigos, you know how this section works. As always, you're going to hear a soundbite. You're going to hear it 4 times. You'll have 4 chances to write down every single word you hear. But initially, I just want you to tell me what you heard in your own words using your best English. All right, so everybody grab a pen or a pencil, a writing, anything you can write something down with, and let's get started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started in here. Vamos a arrancar. Is everybody ready? This is the Say What soundbite for the first time.
I always wanted a daughter, to dress her up in pretty dresses, do her hair, her nails, her makeup. No one knows this, but for the first year of his life, I made up money like a girl and told everybody that he was my daughter. I didn't want to mess with his head. When he found the pictures, I told him that it was his twin sister who died.
All right, there you go. Sounds exciting, huh? All right, amigos, there's your Say What soundbite. You got it for the first time there. Pretty fast. And there's a lot to digest there. We say the same thing. There's a lot to digest. All right, let me give it to you a second time. Is everybody ready for a second listen here? All right, this is the Say What soundbite for the second time.
I always wanted a daughter, to dress her up in pretty dresses, do her hair, her nails, her makeup. No one knows this, but for the first year of his life, I made up money like a girl and told everybody that he was my daughter. I didn't want to mess with his head. When he found the pictures, I told him that it was his twin sister who died.
Listen carefully. No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughn Town, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughn Town, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovaughn.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughn Town. All right, there you go, folks. Vaughn Town, I highly recommend it if you can afford it. And as one of my students, Carmen, said last week when she was asked, is it expensive? And she said, no way. And she didn't even think about it. She answered so quickly, and she said, no way. There was not a doubt in her mind that it was worth every penny. You can find out more about Vaughn Town on our website. It's grupovaughn.com. And folks, you know what we're going to do while you guys are thinking about what you heard in the Say What soundbite? Let's move on to our spelling bee.
Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee.
That's right, amigos. It is our spelling bee only on the show with no name. This is perhaps the toughest section we will look at. You never know. Sometimes people have difficulty with the homophones, not as much as the spelling bee, the say what soundbite. Those are pretty tough. Sometimes double trouble. Again, it always depends on the day as well. All right, so let's see what we've got over here. Before we start our spelling bee, I want to see if you guys have anything to say about our say what soundbite. Let's see. Kubla says, I heard a non-native English-speaking lady saying she donned her son like a girl because she always wanted to have a daughter. Excellent. Kubla, you nailed it. So I heard a non-native English-speaking lady saying she donned, and to don is to dress, okay? To don her son like a girl because she always wanted to have a daughter. Short and sweet, Kubla, but you got the main idea. You got the gist of it. And the good news, folks, is you're going to hear that another 2 times. Hopefully somebody will be able to get it. I imagine many of you recognize the voice because, the person is extremely famous and her voice is very unique, very one of a kind. All right, anybody else going once, going twice? All right, we're going to have to move on to today's spelling bee. This is round 1. These words do not have to be capitalized today, okay? Again, I repeat, these words do not have to be capitalized today, okay? Is everybody ready? This is your spelling bee. All right, let me get some background noise here, though. I want to, you know me, I like to get in the mood here. Okay, there it is. That's the one I was looking for. Here are your spelling bee words. The first one is Ladybug. The second one is Caterpillar. The third one is Centipede. The fourth one is Grasshopper. The fifth one is Butterfly. And the last one is Dragonfly. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Today's a busy day near my studio. I've got a guy blowing leaves with a leaf blower, soplando las hojas. And then I've got Apache attack helicopters or something like that. I don't live very far from an important base. You think that was an accident? I know, I'm sick. So it's pretty normal to hear choppers. That's another way to say helicopters overhead. That's right. All right, let's see if anybody got this spelling bee here on the first go. Ladies and gentlemen, unbelievable. Please give it up for Born to Spelling Bee. Also, Kubla, looks like you got it as well. Excellent job, fellas. The fellas. Great. You guys can relax and sit this next round out. O sea, aparcar ese culete y estar de tranquis. All right. Also, Laura wants to participate in the Say What soundbite, and we want to hear what she has to say. She says, I heard a woman who could be an actress who speaks English with a very thick Spanish accent, saying that for the first year of her son's life, she dressed him and did his hair like a girl because she had always wanted to have a daughter. Don't call me daughter, not fit to be. Your picture kept will remind me. Don't call me daughter. Pearl Jam. Come on, guys. All right, here we go with round 2 of today's Spelling Bee. Let me take a quick sip of water, if you don't mind. I notice in the summer you get less oxygen, like, right? Because it's hot. So sometimes I'm like, my mouth gets dry really quickly and my throat as well, as opposed to the winter. All right, here we go, guys. Everybody ready? The first one is LadyBug. The second one is CATERPILLAR. The third one is CENTIPEDE. The fourth one is GRASSHOPPER. The fifth one is BUTTERFLY. And the last one is DRAGONFLY. And I see we've got some other people figuring it out as well. There's Chris Valrol. There's Lupe. Good morning, ladies. How you doing? Great job. Well, these are all little insects or bugs that you can find around a garden, at least in Spain. I've seen most of these in Spain and in the northeast of the United States as well. There's Laura. Great job, Laura. That's right, folks. And just a quick reminder, if you like gardening or you like the great outdoors, well, there's an FYI episode exactly on that. It's on gardening. Some folks were born with a green thumb, while others seem to put an end to every plant we've ever put our paws on in the past. Nevertheless, a fruitful show awaits as we get the garden together gleefully. Grab your spades and hoses as we get into gardens on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info. English. You got it. There you go, folks. I just shared the link with you. It's a good time to take a look at gardening, you know, now that people spend more time outside. And, well, personally, I've been obsessed with gardens. I started following a lot of these channels on YouTube where they teach you about having a small garden. I don't have, my wife says she thinks that I think, so that we have like 75 acres of land, you know, in our garden, in our yard, nuestro patio. And we have this running joke, este chiste que seguimos diciendo, like, oh, yeah, as far as the eye can see, hasta que pueda ver el ojo humano. Like the other day, I asked her to get me on Amazon. I said, could you pick me up some decorative rocks? You know, these little stones, the little ones for the garden. And I said, and she said, well, how much do you need? And I said, well, about 20 kilos. She goes, how big do you think our yard is, man? I'm like, well, where am I going to plant the corn and the apple trees and the pumpkins? And she started cracking up. So, yeah, again, she thinks that I know, well, we have a small little garden. And in fact, most of the videos that I've been watching on YouTube teach you how to maximize space because not everybody has land as far as the eye can see. But that's our running joke here in the family now. I'm like, 20 kilos of rock. She's like, 20 kilo. Like, really? Why don't you start with 5? See how that goes. And you know what? 5 wasn't enough. So I was right. Because you know how those decorative rocks are, right? Like you have a huge bag and you dump it, and then looks like a little pile over there, So check it out, guys. An exciting episode on gardening. I'm no expert, but I really do enjoy it, and I feel like it's something that's very soothing, relajante. Now, why did I choose all these little things? Well, because my daughter recently, we got her a magnifying glass. What, I forget how you say these. Una lupa no es a magnifying glass. Es algo que pones, usan los detectives antiguamente. And so we look at different bugs that come here in the garden. We're visited by butterflies, by little mini lizards, right? Estas lagartijas. And it's cool. It's cool because she's learning. In fact, all of these animals that we're going to look at today, my daughter knows them. She knows them in English and Spanish, which is pretty interesting. I don't even think I do. And why did I choose these? Well, I figured it's the season where you'll find some bugs, the mosquitoes too, those ones that really bug us, the bugs that really bug us, los mosquitos que nos molestan. Now, why did I choose this? Well, actually, it has nothing to do with animals. Yeah, kind of nothing to do with animals. Today in 2019, the last Volkswagen Beetle rolled off the line, the assembly line, cadena de montaje, in Puebla, Mexico. This was the last of these. They made a special edition, and they made 5,961 special edition Volkswagen Beetles. And the last one rolled off the assembly line today in 2019. And yes, Beetle is Escarabajo, that famous car. Now, the interesting thing here is that Beetle no se escribe como el grupo, The Beatles. Ellos hicieron un juego de palabras con beat, el ritmo, right? But Beatles realmente es 2 Es, no Beatles, sino Betles, right? So that's something you should know. But yes, so I figured why not look at real beetles and other insects we can find in our yard. Remember, the yard is el patio, your front yard, your backyard. I don't know if it's big enough to call it a garden, what I have, but well, they're plants, they're flowers. It smells good. It attracts the animals. The bees come and they pollinate. So that's a good sign. And we have honeysuckle. Estoy aprendiendo muchísimo también yo, no solo ella. Honeysuckle, madre selva, you call it. Honeysuckle, among other things. And I'm just getting started, guys. Soon I'll have some tomatoes and other things like that. Well, where's my dad from? El Marchal de Lubrin, from the land, de la tierra, from Almería. And there you have to know what you're doing, right? So I'm learning. And more importantly, I'm teaching Lara the ropes. So I'm learning the ropes, aprendiendo cómo van, por dónde van los tiros, cómo van, no, lo básico, los pormenores, the ins and outs. And I'm teaching them to Lara. And I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to bond. In fact, she's the one who tells me, Papi, we got to get the dead leaves, because every day we check through, okay, there's some dead leaves. We clean it up just so it's nice and it looks landscaped. And I love this word. You can learn the word in the gardening episode. By the way, I shared the link. But landscaped is como embellecido. Like you can tell, se nota, if somebody has landscaping done, right? Because it's not just bushes haphazardly, al azar, haphazardly. It's 3 bushes here, then some rocks, and everything looks beautiful. It's actually well thought out. And you can do that. You don't even need herbs, hierbas, or tomatoes or anything. You can even have a beautiful rock garden, like a Zen garden with some trickling water. So this is all vocabulary you can hear in that episode, the gardening episode of FYI. And folks, a nice round of applause for Kubla. He got the Say What soundbite. Wow, great job, Kubla. That was only 2 listens, if I'm not mistaken. So excellent job. The good news is, folks, you're going to hear it in just a moment. But right now, we're going to our second commercial break. Yeah, I know. Time flies when you're having fun. The good news, we've got a lot more fun coming up in the second half of the show. We've got homophones. We got to listen to our Say What soundbite another 2 times. Movies, Double Trouble. We'll look at those bugs too in our spelling bee, and so much more. We'll be right back, my amigos. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Say it with me. Let's make it count. 3, 2, 1. Stick around. enseñar. But also there's no replacement for having your own teacher, your own personal trainer. And you can find out more about that at our website, grupovon.com. That's right. Grupovon.com is where you can get information about everything we do here, from our courses to our books to our radio to even opportunities that we have for people in the future. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe right now, because we get a newsletter, we get a weekly newsletter, and if I'm not mistaken, Vaughn is hiring. Están contratando. Don't quote me on it, but you can check it out. I imagine it's posted wherever they have job postings. And my amigos, I want to remind you about Oxford English. ¿Qué tiene que ver la universidad con Vaughan? Pues muchísimo. Es una alegría anunciar que Vaughan ha sido certificado como centro examinador de Oxford Test of English. Podrás hacer los exámenes de Oxford Test of English en los centros de Vaughan. Si quieres más información sobre esta iniciativa de Vaughan y Oxford, puedes ver más en nuestra página web, grupovaughan.com. O bien síguenos en redes sociales para más información. Oxford Test of English con Vaughan. That's right, folks. You can find out more at our website or by following us on social media. But right now, it's time for words that sound the same on the show with no name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. 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 Show with no name. Show with no name. Show with no name.
That's right, my amigos. You know it. It is time for the section where we look at words that tend to be a bit confusing, but not to you guys, not to my show with no namers, and not after we demystify them. But first, I want to know if you're familiar with the words, and then if you know if they sound exactly the same or not. The first one is a tube used for watering. It looks like a snake, for example. It's a long tube, usually used for watering. Okay, that's a very logical word. Regar is to water. Hey, estamos de jardinería hoy, right? We're gardening. So, in Spanish, the word is manguera, but it's also the one that the firefighters use, los bomberos. So, everything in context. And it also means calcetines o medias en el sentido América Latina, right? So, it would be a synonym for stockings. Stockings, okay? That is the first word, manguera, calcetines, stockings de estos, and that's about it. Bueno, también es limpiar algo con manguera, si ponemos la palabra down, que luego lo vemos. Okay, and Lara knows this vocabulary because we've learned it hands-on. All right, and the next word is another thing from the garden. Are you kidding me? Nope. And this is a garden tool. You say azada o azadón, que también es el verbo. O sea, sachar, escardar, usar azada. But I want it in plural. So the word azadas, azadones, that's our second word. And the first word is in singular. Una manguera. Does una manguera sound the same as dos Azadones? We'll find out as soon as we start getting some answers from our amigos. Also, let me give you our Say What soundbite. This is the third listen.
I always wanted a daughter to dress her up in pretty dresses, do her hair, her nails, her makeup. No one knows this, but for the first year of his life, I made up money like a girl and told everybody that he was my daughter. I didn't want to mess with his head. When he found the pictures, I told him that it was his twin sister who died.
All right, there you go. I love Laura. You got the irony there, right? Laura's like, well done, Kubla. And yeah, she doesn't want to mess with his head. Obviously, there's a comedy/drama in there. So you hope it's comedy, right? You hope it's from a comedy. All right, so that's the third listen. We'll hear it another time over there. And hopefully somebody will be able to figure it out. So the first word we're looking at in our homophone section is manguera, and the second one is azadones. So would those two words sound the same or not? Let's take a look over here in our chat room and see what you guys had to say. Kubla says it's and they sound the same. Well, Kubla, those are the correct words. So, good. Do you guys agree? Were you familiar with these words? It looks like you weren't, because only Kubla is participating right now. So did I get you guys here? Oh, wow. Hey, it's hard. You usually know the words. And oh, no, okay. I got a few more people now. Okay. I was confused. I said, wow, a lo mejor no saben vocabulario de jardín, which means you have to listen to that FYI episode. All right, let's see. Chris says, this is a really singular character. Imagine having her as a mother. Yeah, no doubt. Chris says, I think the words could be homophones. All right, well, those are the correct words. Let's see. Laura says the two words are and I think they don't sound alike. You hear that helicopter? Hear the chopper? Okay, I wanted to see planes and helicopters, but I didn't think that we were going to be invaded every day. Well, we were right in the flight path, and el camino que tienen que volar. Hey, I think it's cool, but sometimes, I'll put on a garden, some kind of like nature sound effect, like chirp, 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 los pajaritos, and what happens? You hear, hey, maybe we're in Vietnam. Maybe it's one of those jungles. All right. So let's see. Anybody else? So Laura says they don't sound alike. Kubla and Chris say they do. And those are you all got the correct word. So that's definitely a plus over there. Born to Iron Man agrees with Laura. And he says the words don't sound alike. Well, I'm going to say both words now. The first word is hose. Grab the hose, please. Coge la manguera, the hose. Also, pantyhose are estas medias, right? Hose, H-O-S-E. And as I said, limpiar con manguera, o cuando algo está caliente el patio, you hose it down, right? To hose something down is darle un manguerazo, I think would be the perfect translation. So hose, H-O-S-E. Great. The second word, and that's singular, because en plural ya cambia, it's hoses. So mira, hose, una sílaba, hoses, dos sílabas. And the second word is hose. So vamos con el singular, hoe. You wouldn't happen to have a hoe, would you? No tendrás un azadón, ¿no? Da la casualidad. You wouldn't happen to have a hoe, would you? Pero ¿qué si te pido dos? So te voy a pedir ahora una manguera y dos azadones. All right. You wouldn't happen to have a hose and two hoes, would you? Otra vez. You wouldn't happen to have a hose, manguera, and two hoes, would you? Yes, they are homophones. Absolutely, amigos. They are homophones. Excellent job to Kubla and Chris and Laura and Born to Iron Man. I won't catch you with that one next time. That's the good news. No os pillaré con esa a la próxima. You got it this time, and now you'll never forget it. Or, well, you might forget it, but at least the chances of you forgetting it are now slimmer, menos, más pequeños, right? All right, so what do we have to do? Oh, we have to look at our spelling bee. That's right. We were taking a look at our spelling bee over here. We'll quickly go over these words that, as I said, my daughter already knows. The first one is ladybug. Ladybug. She loves ladybugs. Who doesn't love ladybug? Okay, you don't want one to fly up your nostril. El agujero en tu nariz. No. And they define it as a spotted beetle. Ah, mira. In Inglaterra, it's ladybird. We call it a ladybug, right? And by the way, mariquita, I know in Spanish can be an offensive term. In English, it's not. You wouldn't say, he's a ladybug. First, son palabras feas, but in inglés no tiene ese significado, okay? So ladybug, it's an innocent word in English, and they're very pretty, ladybugs. The next one is caterpillar. Any Cure fans in the house? Caterpillar, 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 go. Oruga. Caterpillars, not all of them, some turn into, se convierten en, butterflies. Okay? Caterpillar, caterpillar. Pilar de catering. Caterpillar. The next one I think you can even figure out. Centipede. Vamos a ir a esas clases de latín de aquel entonces. Cien, pede, podólogo, cien pies. Centipede. Centipede. The next one is, you say mountain jumper. We call them a grasshopper. You say saltamontes. We say grasshopper, and that's a drink too. If I'm not mistaken, a grasshopper is a drink. That's pretty popular in the United States, or it was. Oh, yeah. Okay, so a grasshopper is a sweet mint-flavored after-dinner drink, and the name of the drink derives from its green color. It comes from the crème de menthe, so they use like un licor de crema, pero de menta. And it's actually was invented, the grasshopper was invented in New Orleans. So it's crème de menthe, crème de cacao. It's definitely an after dinner drink. It's like a white Russian. You know, you don't want to have too much lactose in there. Too much cream, I don't know if you're going to have a couple of those. So a grasshopper, not only something you can find in the garden, but also something you can find at a bar. The fifth one is butterfly. Butterfly. Siempre me ha parecido gracioso el nombre. Mantequilla vuela. What? Okay, I think it's funny. And you want to know something? When we took our last commercial break, I went and I filled up my water bottle, and I had to go through the garden, my 75 acres, 70,000 hectares that I have. And you know what I saw? A butterfly. Yeah. So there you go. We're talking about really living the experience here, right? Butterfly. Butterfly is our fifth one. I think a lot of you guys know that one. We also use the expression to have butterflies in your stomach, which you guys use as well. The next one, I love the name of this one in English. It's got a cool name. Dragonfly. Mosca dragón. Bueno, puede ser porque vuela o porque mosca is a fly, right? So dragonfly. And I didn't mention flies because those are the ones everybody hates. Flies and mosquitoes, right? I think everybody can agree there. Flies. In fact, I have to get a fly swatter. A fly swatter is matamoscas. I love the name in Spanish. A fly killer. Hey, Alberto, can you pass me the fly killer? Okay, sure. So dragonfly, libellula. I always mispronounce that one. Libellula, dragonfly. Very cool looking animal. It's a very popular tattoo. Butterflies and dragonflies. All right, well, folks, I hope you enjoyed our little trip to the garden. But right now we're going to the movies. Name that movie. That's right, amigos. It's Name That Movie only on the show with no name. And as always, my amigos, this is where we take a look at a flick. If you've seen the flick, great. You can guess which one it is. If not, you're going to learn from it either way. All right, a couple comments before we get started, though. Laura says, bravo. I thought the S sound at the end was different. Nope. So hose is la theta, z, hose, and hose. Same sound, same sound. And Born to Iron Man says, so did I, Laura. Well, hey, as I said, live and learn. Cada día aprendes algo nuevo. Live and learn. Es mucho más sucinto en inglés, right? Live and learn. Vives y aprendes, right? Okay, let's see. Laura also nailed our Say What soundbite. Great job. Born to Iron Man says Caterpillar is the kind of tractor. Absolutely. It's a famous tractor company too. And he says, and in Spain, it's pronounced like caterpillar, marking the emphasis on the last syllable. Caterpillar? Is that how it? I don't know. I don't know how it's pronounced in Spanish. But yes, in fact, when I first said the word caterpillar, two things came to mind. The Cure song, as I mentioned, Caterpillar. It's a great song. And those machines that are used in big gardens. I don't think they would be used here. Maybe instead of gardens, they're used on farms. All right, well, let's take a look at today's Name That Movie and see if you guys can figure it out. A misfit ant looking for warriors to save his colony from greedy grasshoppers recruits a group of bugs that turn out to be an inept circus troupe. Wow, so we know a lot of these words because we just looked at them. I promise it wasn't planned. Okay, maybe it was. Maybe it was. Yeah, it was. It was planned. So a misfit. Piensa en esto. Si fit es encajar. If you're a misfit, no encajas. No eres parte de la sociedad. Right? Some people fit in. Encajan perfectamente. And misfit is somebody who's kind of like, on the periphery, for example. So a misfit ant, y no es tía, en este caso es hormiga. En inglés americano, mucha gente porque hay dos pronunciaciones de tía. Ant, que es igual que hormiga, y aunt. Yo no digo aunt. Yo digo los dos igual. So a misfit ant looking for warriors to save his colony from greedy. And greedy is, I want more. I want more. I want more. Greedy grasshoppers recruits. Esta palabra es parecida, pero un poco diferente. You say reclutar, we say recruits. Recruits a group of bugs that turn out to be, acaban siendo, an inept, no te tengo que decir inept, ineptos, ¿no? An inept circus troupe. And circus es el circo, and a troupe es la compañía, ¿no? El grupo. A traveling troupe, a theater troupe, a circus troupe. And ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Chris Valrol. And Kubla got it as well. Great job, Kubla. Chris says it's Bichos in Spain. Beautiful movie, no doubt about it. Yeah, in English, it's A Bug's Life. Instead of bugs, it's A Bug's Life. No, un día en la vida de un bicho es lo que viene a decir. And as we said before, bugs bug me molestan. Just think of Bugs Bunny. My daughter loves Bugs Bunny, right? And now she already knows he's always bugging people, right? He is always bugging people. Siempre molestando a la gente. Y solo hay que pensar, ¿qué es lo que hace un bicho? Okay, no los que hemos dicho, pero un mosquito. It bugs people, right? So it's a really, you can't ask for a better, association than that. So Flick says, flick. Now, to flick es hacer algo que puedes hacer con una hormiga. Flick, no hacer flick con el dedo. Makes sense. Flick says, here, pretend that it's a seed. Pretend es no pretender, es fingir. Pretend that it's a seed, una semilla. And Dot says, it's a rock. Es una roca, una piedra. And Flick says, oh, I know it's a rock. I know. But let's just pretend for a minute that it's a seed. All right? We'll just use our imaginations. Vamos a usar nuestras imaginaciones. Now, do you see our tree? ¿Ves nuestro árbol? Everything that made that giant tree is already contained inside this little seed. All it needs is some time, a little bit of sunshine and rain, and voila. And Dot says, this rock will be a tree? ¿Será un árbol? And Flick says, seed to tree, semilla a árbol. You've got to work with me here, all right? Como tienes que seguirme un poco. No es trabajar conmigo. Eso es una expresión muy nativa, decir, you got to work with me. Échame un cable, como ayúdame a ayudarte, como entiéndeme aquí. You got to work with me here, all right? Como sígueme. And he goes, okay, now you and he starts to stutter. He goes, no, you might not feel like you can do much now. But that's just because, well, you're not a tree yet. Todavía no eres un árbol. You're not a tree yet. Okay? You just have to give yourself some time. Te tienes que dar tiempo. Or you say the same thing. You have to give yourself some time. You're still a seed. Sigue siendo una semilla. But it's a rock, Dot says. And then Flick, shouting, gritando, says, I know it's a rock. Don't you think I know a rock? When I see a rock, I've spent a lot of time around rocks. And then Dot says, you're weird. It is raro. You're weird, but I like you. And if you have not seen this movie in English, you've got to check it out. Kevin Spacey, well, he's not the best example. He does a great job, but I'm not a big fan of his extracurricular activities. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, also from the movie, not from the movie, from the series Seinfeld. Dennis Leary, Madeline Kahn. She's been around for so long. Very talented voice actors. It's called A Bug's Life. In Spanish, it's called Bichos. All right, my amigos, I can't believe it. But we're talking about rock. We're talking all about rock. Well, rock from a garden. But also, I hope you're ready to rock, listos para acción, in our fourth and final part of today's show. We'll be right back with the rest of today's English extravaganza. If I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around.
what time it is? Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. It's Double Trouble only on the show with no name. And let's take a look at today's Double Trouble and see what we come up with. I think this one's really, really easy. And you know how I just spoke about my buddy Kyle Miller? Well, don't forget, Kyle Miller joined me on an episode of FYI to talk about his area of expertise, business English. A great friend of mine, a guy who knows his stuff. Forma decir que sabe de lo que habla. He knows his stuff, and most of you know who he is. And if you don't, well, take note. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Kyle Miller.
Hey, Alberto. Great to hear from you, man. Great to hear from you and great to be a part of your podcast.
Wow, we've been talking about it for a while because we've been on each other's radio shows, but this is the first time that you've been here on the podcast, and it's an absolute pleasure, Kyle.
Well, hey, the pleasure's all mine. You know, we've done, a lot of shows together over the years with Vaughn and in different places and different projects, but it's pretty cool. It's a pleasure to be a part of your own FYI podcast for sure.
All right, there you go, folks. Kyle Miller joins me to talk about business English, and I can share the link with you. I'll share it right now. I like to do that. This way you guys have easy access to stuff. But remember, the best way is to make sure you're subscribed or following FYI the same way you follow your Vaughn podcasts. So this has something to do with business, the workplace, la oficina. Here we go. Las grapas son esenciales o básicas en el lugar de trabajo. Te acabo de decir lugar de trabajo. I just said it a second ago because I got a big mouth. What do you want from me? So, las grapas son esenciales o básicas en el lugar de trabajo. Y cuando hablamos de las grapas, hablamos en general, no digo esas particulares. Ojo, que sí tengo que explicar. Las grapas en general son esenciales, básicas en el lugar de trabajo. There's your double trouble. I also have to give you guys your Say What soundbite. This is the Say What soundbite for the fourth time. We already had some students figure it out. Let's see if you can join them.
I always wanted a daughter, to dress her up in pretty dresses, do her hair, her nails, her makeup. No one knows this, but for the first year of his life, I made up money like a girl and told everybody that he was my daughter. I didn't want to mess with his head. When he found the pictures, I told him that it was his twin sister who died.
All right, there you go, my amigos. There you go. That is your fourth and final listen. As I said, great job to Kubla and Laura. Also, a shout out to my buddy Nihad, who is with us here in the house. What's up, Nihad? And he says, hello, Alberto and friends. I can't participate, but I listen to the show every single day. Thank you for existing. Thank you, Nihad, for stopping by. And also, it's a great moment. It's a great moment to send a shout out to all of you guys who don't tune in live. I know every day we've got Kubla, Laura, we've got such an amazing crew. And you know what? You guys who are here with us live, you're inspiring the people who are tuning in later because they see and hear you doing all the work and doing the exercises, and you inspire them. You inspire them. So excellent job to our show with no namers who are live and those who can't be here live. I love you all just the same, and you know that. There are no favorites in my class, only one. You know my favorite student, don't you? Who's my favorite student? Lara, of course, my daughter. All right, let's take a look now at today's double trouble. As I said, las grapas en general son esenciales, básicas en el lugar de trabajo. All right, let's take a look over here. The first person to participate is Kubla. Kubla, no, you didn't give us, you're giving us specific here. I thought you would know this. This is above your level, man, I think. So maybe you were just hasty. You went too quick and you didn't listen, maybe? Because I expect you to know this, man. This is a basic, pretty basic mistake, especially for you guys, show with no namers who are intermediate to high level students, right? In general. So we're going to skip it. The rest is right, but it's not really, right? In fact, it's a very, very common mistake. Let's see. Leo, let's see if he got it perfect. Here, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Leonardo and Laura and Chris. Wow. All right. Well, just a note, guys, just in case, I'll repeat it, but it's very, very important. You don't, in English, we don't put the where you guys do in many, many cases. Las cosas se han ido de las manos. Se nos han ido de las manos. Not the things. Things in general. Things have gotten out of hand, right? Las naranjas son caras ahora. Not the oranges. Oranges are more expensive these days, right? So anytime, lo oído mil veces, the life is crazy. Which one? Which one? You mean life, right? In general. So when we're talking in general, which a lot of times it happens poetically, life, things, you know, we don't use that the. When we use the, we're talking about specific ones. So I always use this example. Oranges are delicious, right? Oranges are absolutely delicious. The oranges in el Marchal de Lublin are amazing. ¿Ves la diferencia? La primera sin artículo definido. De hecho, ahí viene la clave. Oranges in general are amazing. But the oranges on our property are even better. Absolutely. Well, my grandma used to pick them. That right there gives them a nice, a better flavor. It's got that TLC. So excellent job. Staples are staples in the workplace, right? And I'm sure that there's a joke somewhere in there. Speaking of jokes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar.
You're joking. That's right, amigos. That's right. You're joking. And remember, if you like learning English with a little humor, you can do that in my latest book. This book is, you know the name.
Seguro que eres súper friki de Harry Potter y no te has dado cuenta de la cantidad de palabras sin darte cuenta. Por ejemplo, Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff viene de huff and puff, que es jadear, que estás agotado. Así que ya sabes por qué esta escuela se caracteriza por ser muy exigente y los alumnos van con la lengua fuera todo el día. They're huffing and puffing.
¿Y esa escuela que se llama Slytherin?
Slytherin, ¿de qué viene esa palabra?
To slither es lo que hace una serpiente.
Claro, por eso en esa escuela los alumnos son capaces de hablar con las serpientes. Y de hecho en el escudo viene una serpiente, tiene lógica. ¿Y qué me dices de Ravenclaw?
Esta tiene mucha chicha. It's very meaty.
Ravenclaw viene de Raven, que significa cuervo, y Claw, que significa garra. Es la garra del cuervo. Y si miras el escudo, ¿qué es lo que hay? Un cuervo con las garras agarrándose. ¿Quién habría dicho que podríamos aprender tantísimo viendo Harry Potter? Sabes muchísimas palabras gracias a Harry Potter. Y no solo a Harry Potter, a películas, cómics, dibujos animados, videojuegos, todo incluido en This Book is the Shit, el tercer libro de Alberto Alonso
y Damián Moya.
No te lo pierdas, así se aprende.
This book really is the shit. That's right, folks. If you haven't picked up your copy yet, what are you waiting for? This book is the shit. It's available now. It's a great summer book, and so many people have already picked it up, and I've gotten nothing but positive feedback. So thank you Thank you. Thank you. It's magical that, we can, Damian and I, sit there for days and weeks and months and hours, and not just Damian and I, many other people, sweating and scratching our heads so much that your brain hurts. Te lo juro. Te duele el cerebro. And then when I see you guys saying, like, eating it up, devorándolo, that's where the magic comes in. So thank you so much, my amigos, for learning and, most importantly, for getting what we're doing, right? Okay, so here we go. Why do bananas never get lonely? Okay. Why do bananas never get lonely? Easy. They hang out in bunches. No. They hang out in bunches. I remember the first time I saw this word in Spanish. I thought it was racismo, but it's racimo. Vi la S ahí. Digo, what? ¿Cómo se puede decir eso? Racismo. Racimo in Spanish. My dad says, but the ones of El Marchal are and were and forever will be the best, sweetest, bigger, and tutti good, such as Marshall's oranges. No doubt. No doubt. All right. So why do bananas never get lonely? Because they hang out in bunches. All right. So to hang is colgar. Bananas hang, right? In bunches. And hang is also quedar con tus amigos. So colgar o quedar con tus amigos. They hang out, cuelgan o quedan in bunches, en racimos o en grupos, en mogollones de gente. They hang out in bunches. I know the joke was a bit bananas. Loco. Bananas is also loco. So why do bananas never get lonely? Because they hang out in bunches. All right. Why shouldn't you tell secrets? This is one of the oldest jokes in the book, by the way. Why shouldn't you tell secrets in a cornfield? Easy. Too many ears. No? Many ears? All right, an ear, you know what it is. We have ears right on our head. On either side of our head, we have ears. But also an ear of corn you call mazorca de maíz, an ear. Now, cuando lo comemos, we say it's corn on the cob. But an ear of corn is what you would call the whole thing. So you get it now? In Mexico, it's elote. Elote. In Spanish, it's mazorca de maíz. Again, when it's the food, when you're eating it, like if you're talking about an agriculture, you would say an ear of, there are many ears of corn in that field, right? They're ears of corn. Yeah, maybe because they look a little bit like ears, they open up a little bit. But corn on the cob, C-O-B, es como dirías eso que pones a la barbacoa con un poco de mantequilla. Anybody getting hungry? Come on over. There's room for 3 of you. My wife thinks that I think that there's room for 3 million people as far as the eye can see. As I told a lot of my friends with kids and things, I'm like, I'm going to invite you all over, but at separate times. Well, I don't want to be squished in here. So I think, in fact, we have friends of ours from Germany, and they have 3 kids. So we told them, we don't know if we can fit your whole family in the house, you see? So, too many ears. Why shouldn't you tell secrets in a cornfield? Too many ears. All right. Did you know that ants are the only animals that don't get sick? That's right. Yeah. Ants are the only animals that don't get sick. It's true. It's true because they have little antibodies. No. Antibodies. Ant es hormiga. We looked at the word. Ant es tía también. Pero si queremos decir hormiguita, we say auntie, ¿no? O tita. Oh, voy a llamar a mi tía, ¿no? Como diminutivo. So, antibodies are anticuerpos. You say the same thing, right? Things that help you fight off disease and infection. I'm not a doctor, but that's hasta ahí llego. In case you didn't know by looking at me, I'm not a doctor, guys. So, did you know that ants are the only animals that don't get sick, that don't get ill? Yeah, it's because they have little antibodies. Pequeños cuerpos de hormiguitas y pequeños anticuerpos. All right, folks, it's time to move on to famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name, and we'll see if you know who our birthday boys and girls are today. The first person was born in 1942, and he is an American singer-songwriter from Detroit, Michigan. And nobody really knew who he was, at least in the United States. But he found success in South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. And it was kind of crazy because the guy went there, did a couple gigs back in the day, en aquel entonces, he did some gigs, and everybody went nuts. Also, people started passing around a tape of his, una cinta con sus canciones, and the rest was history. He supposedly in South Africa sold more albums than Elvis Presley. And there is an Academy Award-winning documentary that came out in 2012 about his life called Searching for Sugar Man. And it's interesting because he's a guy who was absolutely famous halfway across the world, but he didn't know it. Because he started doing other things. He left the music business. Fascinating documentary. If you like music, a story of humans and things like that. It's called Searching for Sugar Man, and it's about this guy's life. Number 2, she was born in 1939. Her last name is Grapas, o Cosas Esenciales, o Básicas. She was a member of the Las Cantaoras Grapas, let's say, Cantaoras, and she is the last surviving member. What songs do they have? I'll Take You There. I'll take you there. A lot of these funk and fun songs from Motown. Let's Do It Again as well. Plus, she has released solo albums. She's done duets with everybody under the sun, collaborating with Aretha Franklin, Prince, and so many other amazing artists. And she received a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. And she's won 3 Grammy Awards, including one for Album of the Year. So no doubt a powerhouse. And speaking of powerhouses, she was born in 1972, a Colombian-American actress, model, and television personality. She got her start on shows on Univision. And then she started doing other things. And then I think the whole world started paying attention when she started playing the role of Gloria on Modern Family. All right, let's take a look over here. Let's see what we've got. Our winners, Kubla and Chris. Number 1, Sixto Diaz Rodriguez, or as they just called him, Rodriguez. You got to check out the documentary if you haven't seen it. Number 2, Mavis Staples. Oh, man, the Staple Singers. What a voice she has, and her sisters as well. And the last one is the lovely Sofia Vergara, which is going to bring us over to our Say What soundbite today. This is Sofia Vergara playing Gloria in Modern Family, talking about how she dressed her son up as a girl. Cruel. And as you can see, she's not going to win the Parent of the Year award because then she told him his twin sister died. Like, pretty crazy. But I think that's the character. So she says, I always wanted a daughter to dress her up in pretty dresses, do her hair, her nails, her makeup. No one knows this, but for the first year of his life, I made up Manny like a girl. Le pinté a Manny como una chica, Manny, her son, and told everybody that he was my daughter. I didn't want to mess with his head. No quería liarle la cabeza. You're right. So when he found the pictures, cuando encontró las fotos, I told him that it was his twin sister who died. Oh, wow, that's going to really help the situation. Here she is, birthday girl, Sofia Vergara.
I always wanted a daughter to dress her up in pretty dresses, do her hair, her nails, her makeup. No one knows this, but for the first year of his life, I made up money like a girl and told everybody that he was my daughter. I didn't want to mess with his head. When he found the pictures, I told him that it was his twin sister who died.
All right, folks, there you go. Time for Name That Lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. That's right. It is definitely time for our final section. And great job to all of you who participated. Thanks for bringing the magic day in, day out. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. The good news, folks, we'll be back tomorrow with more. We only have this week and next week. And then I'm going on vacay. You say vacas? We say vacay. So let's enjoy the crap out of these 2 weeks, and then we'll come back in September fresh. Thank you so much. And let me give you guys today's song. It's the Staple Singers, Mavis Staples, her birthday, and I'll Take You There. I know you've all heard the song time and time again. It goes, I'll take you there. I'll take you. I could never imitate it as good as she does it. And she goes, I know a place. Conozco un sitio. Ain't nobody crying. There's nobody. Ain't nobody crying. Es doble negación, pero bueno. Ain't nobody worried. There's nobody worried. Ain't no smiling faces. No hay caras que te sonríen. No. Help me. Come on. Somebody help me. Help me. I'll take you there. Te llevaré ahí. All right, folks. Thank you. And let's boogie. Vamos a bailar with this awesome song. Ooh, ow. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Let's go. Listen to that voice. Mavis, do it. Do it, girl.
I know a place.
Yeah, I'll take you there.
Ow! Ain't no